There are at least a dozen free AI writing tools right now, and most of them are a waste of your time. I spent an entire week testing the 5 biggest ones on real work tasks. Not toy examples, actual emails, reports, and content plans. 4 of them disappointed me. 1 genuinely changed how I work. Let me show you exactly what happened. Here's how I tested them. I gave all 5 tools the exact same 3 tasks. Task 1, write a professional email declining a meeting, but keeping the relationship warm. Task 2, summarize a 10-page quarterly business report into 3 key takeaways. Task 3, create a 1-week social media content plan for a small business. Same prompts, same expectations, 5 different tools. The tools are ChatGPT, Claude, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, and Perplexity. All tested on their free tiers. No paid upgrades, no plugins, nothing that costs money. I judged each tool on 3 things. How usable the output was straight out of the box, meaning could I actually send or use it without heavy editing? How well it understood nuance and context, and how fast it was. Let's start with the first task. Task 1, write a professional email declining a meeting invitation, but keeping the relationship warm. I used the same prompt for all 5. Let's start with ChatGPT. ChatGPT gives me a perfectly fine email. It's polite, it hits the right notes, but it reads like a template. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing memorable about it either. It uses phrases like, I truly appreciate, and I would love to connect. Functional, but generic. You'd have to edit this to make it sound like you actually wrote it. Let's score it a 6 out of 10. Claude takes a different approach. The email feels more natural, less corporate boilerplate. It picks up on the keeping the relationship warm part and actually suggests an alternative way to connect. The tone feels like something a real person might write. Less editing needed, I'll give this an 8. Gemini is similar to ChatGPT in quality. Solid, but safe. It adds some nice structure, but the language still feels AI generated. 7 out of 10. Microsoft Copilot tends to over-explain. The email is longer than it needs to be and has that characteristic corporate AI tone. 5 out of 10. Perplexity is interesting because it's really built for research, not writing. The email it produces is functional, but clearly not its strength. It's short, a bit abrupt, and lacks warmth. 4 out of 10 for this task. Task 2. I pasted in a real 10-page quarterly report and asked each tool to pull out the 3 most important takeaways for an executive audience. ChatGPT handles this well. It identifies the key revenue figures, the main risk, and the strategic priority. Clean output. The summaries are concise. 7 out of 10. Claude does something the others don't. It doesn't just summarize the data, it identifies what an executive would actually care about. It connects the revenue dip to the operational change mentioned on page 7. That's genuine comprehension, not just extraction. 9 out of 10. Gemini produces a decent summary, but misses one of the key risks entirely. It focuses on the positive metrics and downplays the warning signs. 6 out of 10. Copilot struggles with the length. The free tier has context limitations, and it cuts off part of the analysis. 5 out of 10. Perplexity, interestingly, tries to cross-reference the report content with public data, which is creative but not what was asked for. 6 out of 10 for effort, but it's solving the wrong problem. Task 3. Create a 1-week social media content plan for a fictional coffee shop that just opened in East London. I want post ideas, captions, and hashtag suggestions for Instagram and TikTok. This is where things get interesting. ChatGPT gives a solid week-by-week plan with themes and captions. It's what you'd expect. Reliable, structured, nothing surprising. 7 out of 10. Claude gives slightly fewer ideas, but each one is more developed and more specific to the East London angle. It suggests a Behind the Espresso Machine series, and a local neighborhood collaboration post. The ideas feel less like they came from a template and more like they came from someone who understood the brief. 8 out of 10. Gemini does well here. It adds trending audio suggestions for TikTok, which is a nice touch. 7 out of 10. Copilot produces generic suggestions that could apply to any business, anywhere. 4 out of 10. And Perplexity again tries to research rather than create. It finds real examples of successful coffee shop social media accounts, which is helpful but not what was asked. It's a research tool being asked to do a creative job. 5 out of 10. Let's add up the scores. ChatGPT, 20 out of 30. Reliable, consistent, never bad, never great. It's the Toyota Corolla of AI writing tools. You will never be disappointed, but you'll never be thrilled either. Gemini, 20 out of 30, surprisingly close to ChatGPT. It has some nice touches, but nothing that makes it the clear choice. Claude, 25 out of 30, consistently the most natural output, the best at understanding context and nuance, and the one that required the least editing before I could actually use the result. If I'm being honest, it's the tool I now use every day for exactly these kinds of tasks. Copilot, 14 out of 30. It's fine for quick questions inside the Microsoft ecosystem, but for standalone writing tasks, it falls behind. Perplexity, 15 out of 30. Brilliant for research, not built for writing. Don't ask a research tool to write your emails. If this was helpful, subscribe. I test a new AI tool every week so you don't have to waste time on the ones that don't work. Next video, I'm testing whether Canva's AI can actually replace a human designer. Drop a comment if there's a specific tool you want me to test. Links to all 5 tools are in the description. See you in the next one.